Thanks for tuning in to Hobbs and Horror Movie Review Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Hobbs and Horror. I'm Eric.
Daddy Hole.
Daddy Hole.
I'm not Daddy Hole.
And not Daddy Hole. So we're back with another episode. The movie we watched today was called Bloody Hell. And ironically, when you look this one up, it's a 6.6 IMDb rating, which is now, I think, our highest rated movie we've watched so far. Which
Possibly.
is crazy.
Yeah, it's very possible. Yeah.
So, Gavin, you want to kick her off with
Yes, I do.
What this is about?
Yes, I do. All right. So, we open up. We get at this opening in this European country, and there's some craziness going on. We don't really know at first what it is. A lot of people in the village, and then we find that one of them stumbles upon a portal, and they get sucked into the portal while they're being chased by an evil wizard and his cat. They end up in New York City, where they are adopted. The villagers are adopted by Neil Patrick Harris and his wife, who are expecting a baby. And they go on this mission to try to find the portal back home, escape the evil wizard, and get Neil Patrick Harris a promotion at his crappy advertising agency. Sure. It ends on a very heartwarming note where everything you think could possibly go right goes right.
So what is this movie? Because
this is a series of unfortunate events, I believe.
No, this is the Smurfs.
Oh,
the Smurfs.
Okay.
That's the Smurfs. So Bloody Hell opens in a European place called Finland.
I'm a peon. You're a peon.
Yeah.
Everyone's a peon.
And there's violence, but it doesn't, you immediately forget about it because it doesn't really, it's not important at first. And then we see a crazy bank robbery where our main character, Rex, disrupts the bank robbery by taking matters into his own hands with a little bit of ultra-violence. But this doesn't go well for him. Apparently, the courts think he went too far, and he ends up going to prison for 8 years. He gets out. He is now a celebrity because even though legally he's a murderer, he is still seen as a hero. So everybody follows him and wants his picture. To escape publicity, he goes to Finland. But what he doesn't know, because he didn't see that opening scene that we saw, is that when you go to Finland, people hunt you down and try to eat you.
Yeah.
So we see him face these people, and will he escape? Will he get out alive? Will he meet the girl of his dreams? You just have to stay tuned.
And disclaimer, none of us believe that everybody in Finland eats other people.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, speak for yourself. I've never been to Finland.
Right. Look at the way they dress. The shorts. And you can see their whole upper leg. All their leg hair and shit. And then the suspenders
if Finland's a real country. That's a whole other thing.
You've always hated Finland.
I don't hate Finland.
You hate Finnish people.
I don't hate Finnish
But you really like Dutch people.
I do like Dutch people.
You think they're like the most beautiful people in the world?
They are the most beautiful people in the world.
Yeah. I can't.
Besides South Koreans.
South Koreans?
Yeah.
But is there a difference between the South Koreans and North Koreans?
I don't know, but I'm not allowed to see the North Koreans.
You can't see them, so.
I suppose. I bet you the North Korean chicks are pretty hot because they're skinnier.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they don't get food.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I've got nothing against...
We apologize to the North Koreans of the world, too.
I've got nothing against the Finnish. I've been to the Upper Peninsula, and it's a nice place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to Houghton Hancock.
Houghton Hancock.
And FU.
FU?
FU, Finlandia University, FU.
All right, so what do people think of this movie? Anybody have any feeling, or do you just want to talk about Finnish people for the next hour?
I'll just talk about Rex, the main guy, who I just like to refer to as Downey Robert Jr. because he just looks so much like Robert Downey Jr. to me. I don't know, but he's a great actor, and I think your initial... So you've seen this before. Yeah. I didn't know you'd seen it before, or I maybe would have picked a different movie. But I'm glad I did, because Eric hasn't seen it,
Yeah.
and I have a feeling you probably enjoyed this movie.
I thought it was very good, actually.
Yeah.
Like-
And but your initial review, like you talked about him being like an action star.
Yeah,
You're like, move over Jason Statham, I think
Yes.
was your exact quote.
yes.
And I would second that. I think this guy, I haven't seen him in anything else, but I really think he's a great actor. He's got the beefcakes. He's got everything. I mean, he's funny.
Yeah.
He can do the comedy. He can do the action. I think he deserves a future.
Yeah, I agree with that. And as you said, yes, I did write a review when this movie came out, and I very highly praised the movie and him in particular, the actor Ben O'Toole. And it is weird because he's great. He's got great screen presence. He does action well. He's got a good body. I mean, I don't know a nicer way to say it, but he does. But, he's got a movie star look about him.
Yeah.
He's funny. But, yeah, it's weird. Like, he hasn't really done it. This movie's 3 years ago, and he hasn't really done anything. Like, to me, if you walk into an audition and this is like your audition like demo tape,
yeah,
I'm hiring this guy.
Okay.
So I don't know what's up with that because he mostly seems to do Australian television.
Yeah,
and that's not no disrespect to Australia, but like that's not major stardom.
Well, but you may have just nailed it by mentioning the fact that he is Australian and
but would you know that?
No, I wouldn't. But what I'm saying is, there's probably not a lot of opportunity over there for big movies. And
yeah,
well,
maybe
I mean,
not.
they have their movies,
so
he might be a legend over in Australia,
but
we're the United States. We don't allow, that kind of stuff to come here because our stuff is better.
Yeah.
So we probably he might be a big deal. We just never seen anything he's done.
I think he's great. Yeah. Originally in my old review, I compared him physically to Brendan Fraser, and I don't know if I was drinking or something.
I think you were.
Because it's a bit of a stretch. But yeah, like now, definitely Robert Downey Jr., and I would say he's like the love child of Robert Downey Jr. and Mac from Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like somewhere in between there.
I would agree with that.
In all the best ways. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to judge a dude on his looks, but he's a good-looking dude.
Yeah.
So now everybody knows Gavin's taste in men. So
yeah, Australian versions of Robert Downey Jr.
So I'm guessing, Gav, you probably saw this kind of when it came out a couple years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this movie has gotten more recognition over time? Because
No.
Really? Okay. Because I saw this and I was like, holy shit. And I asked people about it. No one's heard of it. I mean, apart from a few like Facebook posts here and there, I haven't really seen much about it.
No, that's the weird thing. So yeah, I saw it. It was at a thing called the Nightstream Film Festival, which I don't think exists anymore. I think that was like a pandemic thing.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was absolutely a fantastic movie. It still is. But yeah, so like now today when I look on Letterboxd, because I got a log that I've seen it again. So, I go on there. And I've got one friend on Letterboxd who's marked, I want to watch this movie. I have 0 friends who have said, I have seen this movie. So other than you, Jason, like, I don't know if I know anybody who's seen the movie.
Huh.
And that's really weird because, like, it holds up. I wasn't nuts 3 years ago. It's a solid movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know why this isn't a thing, why it didn't blow up.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because it seems like this is a movie that would be spread pretty fast online.
Yeah.
Like, on these horror groups and stuff where people post, suggestions and whatever. I mean,
do you think it could play into the role of that? I think putting this into a horror genre is kind of loose.
I guess like the first part of, I mean, it does come, like, if you just watch, like, the first 10 minutes of the movie, I mean, apart from the scene where at the very beginning there's somebody getting chased through the woods, but after that it just seems like a heist movie of some kind.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't come across as a horror movie until later.
Well, and I still even
when it does,
when it does, I feel like it falls more into the thriller side of things because there isn't like a lot of there is almost no gore.
Yeah, there is.
I mean,
what? Seeing the leg in the refrigerator, him having his leg cut off, but really,
it's there is blood, there is gore, but I'm going to back Eric up on this. I mean, there's obviously a cannibal.
Yeah.
So there's that. So that's the horror part. But other than that, it's more action. There's comedy. I mean, maybe the movie suffers because it is hard to categorize.
And that could very well be.
It is horror. Maybe the target audience isn't horror fans. Maybe the target audience is, Liam Neeson fans. I don't know.
Brendan Fraser fans.
Yeah, I don't know. So maybe that's it. And it did come out while there were a brief run of these horror action movies that came up from bigger names. There was Joe Lynch, who I love Joe Lynch, and he made Mayhem, which was awesome. And there's Trent Haga, who I might be saying his name wrong, but Trent Haga, who came out of the Trauma background, and he made 68 Kill, which is a fantastic movie as well.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and these are the same kind of you'd call them horror, but they're really just action people going nuts kind of movies. And and I don't know why that was a thing for a year or two, and now it doesn't seem to be as much of a thing.
So you think maybe it just got lost in the pile kind of thing?
I kind of think that maybe that's what happened, and I don't know. I think maybe just because it doesn't have a name, and not only does it not have a name, like when I mean a name like an actor director, it also doesn't have a great title of a movie. And and I ragged on that in the old review, and I'm going to rag on it again now. Bloody Hell is a stupid name.
And it doesn't really match the movie whatsoever.
Yeah. That is probably my biggest knock on the movie, which is not that bad. I mean, I could crap on a lot of movies, but what I'm going to crap on this movie for is just change your title.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. Change your title, and I think you've got a better movie.
Yeah. I mean, the title doesn't bother me, but I can see what you're saying.
It doesn't bother me, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it doesn't give you any indication.
It's not
of
good.
What's going on.
It's not good. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Everything else in this movie, I don't think I could really trying to think of something.
You could
bad.
even just call it Finished.
That's.
It's a stupid title, but at least it's a more memorable title than Bloody Hell.
Yeah. Finish would have been great, especially since he says that joke in the movie.
Yeah.
That would be perfect. He also says Bloody Hell in the movie.
Yeah, but
it's a throwaway.
What does that? What does that mean?
Yeah. But Finished would actually tell you what the movie's about too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Amsterdam.
Yeah. Like Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So Jason, you had not seen this movie?
No, I've seen it.
Oh, okay. Because I wanted to know. Well, do you guys remember? So when he is under the table with the nail gun, and he comes out and he just starts pegging people with the nail gun.
That's my favorite scene in the movie.
Did you either of you the first time you watch it? Do you remember? Did you see that coming?
No, absolutely not.
Because that was completely. I was not expecting.
Even when it was happening, I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
There's just blood shooting up from the bottom of the table.
Suddenly the first guy gets shot, and I'm like, "What?" And then
it's pretty great.
Right, yeah.
They don't even. I don't think they even show him taking the nail gun. You see the nail gun.
No, I don't think so.
When he's in the basement and he sees the nail gun, I think he just he looks at it and then he goes upstairs or whatever. But they don't show him actually taking it. So they really went out of their way to make it sure that no one was going to understand.
See that coming. Basically.
But it was great how they set that up. He even put little drops of blood outside, and then left the door open so they thought he was gone, and then he's just hiding under the fucking table. And they drag it out for a while too. They're sitting there talking and whatever, and he waits until they all sit down at the table so he can just get them one by one.
Yep.
Yeah, how long was he under that table?
And how do you sit under a table? It feels like somebody under a table, and you sit at the table, you would somebody would inevitably brush against him or something to realize he was there.
He's just that good.
But
yeah.
No, that is great. I mean, when you've seen so many horror movies or action movies or whatever, you run out of ways that people can be attacked or dismembered or whatever. But nailing somebody's feet to the ground while they're at the dinner table, I think that's a new one.
And yeah, that's original.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it was awesome.
So what do we got to say about this one, man? Everybody's kind of light on this.
Yeah, it's good.
It was.
I mean, that's what we've talked about this before. It's hard to find things to talk about the really good movies because the good movies, it's like, well, yeah, they're awesome. What else to say? They did everything right. You know,
I liked most of the things of the movie. I think the music was great. It was sometimes it was funny, sometimes it was action. Like they used the right music in the right place. Yeah. It was well done. I guess I could say the ending, like it ends quick, and like
yeah, kind of.
This isn't even like a complaint.
Yeah,
it's just that. I don't find the whole cannibal, part of it. That part I find just fine. I can believe that.
Sure.
The whole okay, now you're my girlfriend and we're going to come back to America and everything's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
That I actually find harder to believe.
Is it because they don't have free healthcare here and why would you do that?
No, but it's just like I don't know why I'm okay with the idea of this whole thing going. I know it's not realistic, but I'm willing to go along with it.
Sure.
But I have that hard time where I'm like, this isn't going to work. This is a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and then we kind of get a glimpse of that at the end with her starting fantasizing about murdering that chick for touching him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she puts her hand on his hand and she just starts thinking in her head about slitting her throat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that felt maybe underdeveloped to me, but that's a minor complaint.
Which brings up another great question with that. So that scene obviously was them setting it up for a possible sequel. Is that a sequel you guys want to see?
No.
Or no?
No. Wow.
I don't.
Firm.
I honestly, I don't think that it needs a sequel, and I don't think it would. It's kind of like. Well, I shouldn't use this example. I was going to say Die Hard.
Yes.
How does this guy always find his he always just happens to be where the terrorists are.
Yeah.
Well,
but I feel like a movie like this, it doesn't really need a sequel to it. I think they were just trying to let you know at the end that ooh, it's not over.
Good job, Jason. You just lost us a bunch more listeners.
Why?
Talking shit about you can't talk shit about Die Hard, man.
He wasn't talking shit about Die Hard.
No, I would never talk shit about Die Hard, except if I'm talking to Ben Fusick about Die Hard. Then I will talk shit about Die Hard only because he thinks it's better than Rambo, and I think that's bullshit. I think
it is better than Rambo.
No. Okay. I will give you that the first Die Hard is probably as good as the first Rambo, but as far
the first Rambo. First Rambo's not.
The first Rambo isn't very good, if I remember correctly.
Good, but it's just him returning to town and the cops harassing him.
It may be that Die Hard 1 is better than Rambo 1.
Yeah.
But as a franchise, Rambo takes the cake.
That's possible.
We may be going off the rails here.
I mean, the only good Die Hards are the first 3. After that, they're just kind of. But you look at Rambo 4 was probably one of the strongest.
I don't know. I'll agree with your general point, though. I think they could make a Bloody Hell 2.
Yeah.
And obviously, the folks would have to be changed. It's not going to be cannibals anymore, but it could be the younger brother coming back, and there's some major fight scenes, and it could be good. But it wouldn't need to happen, and it wouldn't probably beat the original. And I think that's fair for you to compare that to Die Hard. Die Hard 2, 3, 4, 5, they're good movies.
Right.
Live Free or Die Hard, it's a good movie. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
You get Mary Elizabeth Winstead in there. That's fantastic. You get Justin Long in there. Fantastic. Yep. I'm all about that. But no matter how many Die Hards you make, none of them are half as iconic as frickin' Die Hard.
Right.
Yeah.
That is very true.
That's a perfect movie.
I don't know.
Die Hard is a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Full stop.
See, I would
There's
say...
not one thing bad about that movie. Not one.
Do you think it's better than Predator?
Yes.
What? The original Predator?
Yes.
You think it beats Predator?
Yes.
How the... No.
Die Hard is better than Predator.
Oh, dude.
Oh, man. We are so off the rails here. So let's go back to the movie.
Yeah.
So the next question I want to know, does anybody feel like this movie lost something? Because one of the things that I would say that was bad about this movie was let's face it, this main character was almost godlike. You know, like, what's the chances of a guy going in and there's 6 people robbing a bank, they all have guns, and he's able to kill all of them?
Well,
and
I don't have a problem with that.
No.
You don't have a problem with that?
No.
Okay.
They did explain that he had
military background.
He had a military background, and if you look at what happened in that bank scene, literally a fucking person with a gun falls in his lap.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it wasn't like, you know, and I think he, you know, who knows what these guys that were robbing the bank, what their experience was, you know. I don't think, I mean, I buy into things like when, like, going back to Rambo, fucking Rambo 3, right?
Yeah, in Afghanistan?
In Afghanistan, fucking at the end, Rambo and Colonel Troutman, God rest his soul, standing in the desert, fucking taking on the entire Russian army, just the two of them with 2 guns. And somehow they fend them off until the Afghans come and, like, you know, with their horses and then whatever. But it's like, I will buy into that. I will buy into Rambo and this fucking old colonel guy taking on the entire Russian army.
See,
so
and
I will definitely buy into this.
But I do think that the Rambo example isn't a good one, because I feel
Probably
like
not. I
this
just wanna talk about
movie
Rambo.
is not supposed to be. This movie is not supposed to be some superhuman guy. You know,
I
it's supposed
disagree
to
with
be.
that.
It's supposed to be a horror movie, which
No,
Yeah,
I disagree with you.
Yeah, but you look at Ash Williams. I mean,
Mhm.
he's
You were calling him by his full name.
his full
here.
name. Yes, yes. Like his mom, Ash Williams. You get over here.
No, I disagree with Eric, because like the movie knows how absurd it is. Like
Mhm.
like they're playing this up. Like, it's funny how absurd it is. And they tell you that they know how absurd it is, because when he goes to the airport to fly to Finland, the other guy, like, sitting next to him keeps calling him John Wick.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
Like, they're pointing out how nuts this is, that one guy can take on dozens of people. Like, they realize how silly it is.
Yeah, and also, like, you know, going back to the Ash thing, like I was gonna say, that's kind of a thing too that's fun in horror movies, like, where, like, there's a character that just keeps getting their asses handed to him over and over again, and just keeps going on and on and on. Like, you look at Ash, he falls down the stairs, you know, in the fruit cellar, and, like, gets thrown down the stairs, falls, hits his head, he gets kicked in the punched in the face, he gets just his ass handed to him in that movie. And he still gets up and keeps going. I mean,
But he does at least get bruised and bloodied.
he does. But I mean, like, literally flies through the windshield of a car and hits his head on a tree stump and gets up and starts running. You know, that shit's not going to happen. But you just kind of accept it. And actually, I think it makes it more fun, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you kind of realize that they're not going to die, too. Like, if he's going to fly out of a windshield and hit his head on a stump, this guy's probably going to stick around for a while in this movie. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, I guess that with this movie, the only thing I see with it is that when you go into, like, an action type movie, you expect that, and so you're more understanding of it. And I could see somebody walking into this movie not expecting that, getting that, and being like, "Well, that's bullshit," you know. So, but overall, like, from my perspective, I don't think it really hurt the show. It's just one of these things that I could see how somebody might be. Not like that aspect of it.
I felt like they had the tone right.
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying, like, that's weird because it's in a horror movie, and I get your point. I mean, there are certain kinds of horror movies where people are going to get more and more destroyed as the movie goes on, and they're not going to, like, just bounce back from that. But there's a different tone. Like, that's if it's more, like, realistic. Like, oh my crap, there's, like, dread and this is bad. Like, at no point I hope our audience is actually scared watching Bloody Hell, because it's like it's not supposed to be scary.
Yeah.
Right.
It's action comedy with, blood and cannibalism in it.
Mm.
So it's we know that the main guy is going to crack jokes and be unstoppable. Like, it would be weird if all of a sudden he wasn't.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, dude had one leg.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is that, I mean, this guy takes on an entire family of people with one leg.
You cannot realistically tie a golf club to your stump and walk around like that.
I was going to say the golf club would just go straight up and like it would not work, but I don't care. It's fine. And I think the other part of it was actually believable. Like, if you hit under a kitchen table with a you could get away with that. You could do exactly what he did and take all of them out in one,
That's the secret.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
if I'm ever in that situation, that's exactly what I'm doing.
And they did it right, too, because I think he more or less, nailed all of them to the floor before the fighting even started. So, none of them could move,
Well, he only nailed the one.
I thought he nailed all of them.
Did he?
He should have nailed more of them.
Yeah, I think he went around and actually pounded them all. He shot the first guy, and then he pounded everybody into the ground.
Okay.
And so, I could be wrong on that, but...
Yeah, I don't know that he got everybody, but he definitely should have.
Yeah.
That would have made a better scene. Then he could just kind of walk around and slap them.
But
it was great. It was a really clever idea.
And then, so I also thought I appreciate it, and this probably is the number one horror aspect of this movie, is when they do open the fridge and he ends up inevitably killing the final guy with what's left of his leg.
Yeah.
But what they hadn't eaten of his leg
That
at
was a
this
good
point
move.
in time. Yeah. So
I did really like the scene of him dancing around in the field with his leg.
Yeah.
That was pretty
It
great.
was good. Yeah, the final thing with the leg, I think was great. I know maybe Jason's over this, but he used to really be into the limb beating.
I love limb beating.
Okay, and that would have been fine too. But I like that they didn't go that route. That instead of beating the guy with the leg, he actually had it as a spear or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was a better route to take.
Yeah.
I do
glad
too.
They did it.
I do too, because you don't see that one as often.
Yeah.
The limb beating is done in probably every trauma movie ever made.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it would have fit with the tone of this movie.
Yeah, because that's too goofy.
Yeah.
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 So.
Yeah, so I thought that was a nice touch, the way that they did that, because you don't see that too often. Bones being used as knives, spears,
Right.
type things.
Especially your own.
Especially your own, right?
You're literally stabbing someone with an appendage of your own.
Yeah.
That's just great.
That is a rare thing.
It is. And it should happen more often.
Yes.
Gavin, did you do any research? Have the people that are any notable people making this movie, or
No.
is this people just something probably their first movie they've put out or something that?
Some of the Finnish people, this is the only thing I could see on record. Other people, they've had a few things here or there, but it's nothing you ever heard of. The main actor appeared in Hacksaw Ridge, but I don't know what his role was in it offhand. I assume he was not one of the main
Talking
characters.
about Rex?
Rex,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, they pretty much nobody was a name or had a big career. Not the writer, director, none of the actors.
What has the director done besides this? Anything?
I don't even remember because it wasn't anything notable.
Oh, wow.
So this is probably a straight Finnish movie. This could be a big deal there.
You
Probably.
think this is a big deal in Finland?
It could be.
Maybe.
I mean, you have to understand they all have their own television.
I mean, it wasn't made in... Maybe it was made in Finland, but it wasn't made by Finnish people.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
No.
I'm sorry.
It was made in Australia.
Or I'm sorry, that's what I meant, Australia.
Oh, okay.
Maybe this is a big deal in Australia.
Yeah. It might have been made in Finland. I don't know where it was made.
But
the people who made the movie, the creators of the movie are not Finnish.
right. But they're Australian, and it could just be, they could be a big deal in Australia. We just don't know that
They
because
could
we
be.
don't hear that.
They could be.
So,
I don't care about those people.
yeah. Such a hater.
Yeah. They gave us Mel Gibson and Nicole Kidman. They can go to hell. I actually like Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, she's cute.
Yeah. BMX bandits.
Hey, did
yeah.
you guys ever try taking a shit? Just kidding. I don't know.
Wait, what? Where did that come from?
I don't know.
What was that?
I don't know. Sometimes when I don't know what to say, I'm just
It's like, hey man,
I don't know where that was going.
You want to go try and take a shit?
No, actually, I don't want to derail too much, but
gosh.
I do want to talk about another movie that I watched the other day
Okay.
to warn people about.
Is it BMX bandits?
And Gavin,
is it monstered?
No, you seem to have your finger on the pulse, so maybe you could have warned me of this before I spent 2 hours of my life.
But it wasn't monstered.
It wasn't monstered. It was arguably worse.
Okay.
So there's a movie, and I looked it up on IMDb, and I was like, "Oh, 6.4. This looks good.
Sounds good.
It's
yeah.
pretty solid for a horror movie, right?"
Yeah.
It's called
Seems really solid for a horror movie.
Yeah, it's called Nefarious. Okay.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it was on Prime, or to rent, and I don't know. I feel like I heard that it was good or whatever, and I looked it up. 6.4. Looked at some of the reviews, and people were just like, "Yes, this movie is great, whatever." So I put this fucking movie on, and I start watching it. It's a possession movie. Okay. So it's like in the line of like, like The Exorcist and whatever. It's basically the whole movie is a guy that's on death row, and he's got this. There's a psychologist that comes in that has to determine whether he's sane or insane.
I have not seen this.
Okay. The guy has to determine whether he's insane or sane, because if he's insane, then he can't get the death.
But it stars the guy from Boondock Saints.
Yes. Okay. That's relevant to this, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I will get to that.
Okay.
So this guy goes in and he's like talking to him, and the guy starts saying he's a fucking demon. Okay.
Okay.
And he starts talking to this guy, and as the movie goes on, you start to get more evidence that maybe he is a demon, because he like knows all these things, personal things about the psychologist's life and all this shit. And it's pretty good. And Sean Patrick Flannery, is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Does a really good job as the guy. Okay?
He's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
So
Really good. But at some point, they start talking about God and demons, and they go a little longer than I would have thought.
like weird, or just
like they keep going, like it's just like constantly, just like the whole movie is just him talking about like how they tempt human beings into whatever. And I'm like, this is a little long-winded. And then all of a sudden, when the ending should have happened, and I don't want to ruin it because we're not doing a review of this, so I'm not going to give away.
And it's a brand new movie.
Yeah. But when the proper ending should have happened, instead, we cut to a scene of the psychiatrist later on talking to Glenn Beck.
What?
Talking to Glenn Beck on a Glenn Beck show about his encounter with this demon. And you find out at the end that this whole fucking thing was just a Christian propaganda film.
Really?
Yeah. You don't have
What?
have Glenn Beck in a movie if it's not like some kind of a, you know what I'm saying? And Sean Patrick Flannery is like super Catholic.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it?
Because he was in Boondock Saints.
But is the movie good?
See, that's the problem, is that it would have been a little long-winded, but good if it would have cut out at the right time. And the right time would have been, well, I don't want to give it away.
It does star Glenn Beck as himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
Yeah. So I like 2 hours into this movie, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, we both...
That's so weird.
Aaron and I both got duped. We're like watching this thing, and then we're like, I mean, it wasn't bad, like for a lot of it, but then it just got like, you know, when you're reading like
oof.
What?
Yeah. The last movie these guys made was a movie about a Planned Parenthood person who had performed 22,000 abortions, but then one day had a change of heart.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, nothing against that. I don't want to get on that conversation, but yeah, these guys clearly have a point of view.
Yeah, they have an agenda in their movies. They're trying to send a message to people, I guess.
Oh, the same writer of God's Not Dead and God's Not Dead too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I
But
mean,
then I realized
I'm not going to knock the movie for that, but it
No.
would be nice to know that up front.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and the problem is that like then I'm like, oh, now I know why I got a 6.4 rating on IMDb.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Because you got all these Christians that are watching
And-
it,
and
and they're gonna
think
give
it-
it a fucking 10.
and they
just-
think it's great, yeah, because
Yeah.
of such a strong message here.
But I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was
Did you see Sound of Freedom yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I will at some point.
Will you?
Well, I mean, it's a cultural phenomenon. I have to, right?
I hear it's the highest grossing movie of the year.
Yeah.
I don't think the numbers support that, but I've heard that.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right, so should we do numbers on this movie?
I think so.
Yeah, sure.
So, who wants to kick her off?
10 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, 10
Wow.
out of 10.
So,
Okay.
wow, I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say a single bad thing about this movie. I think it's like, I think the comedy, they had comedy in all the right places. I think it's really tough to keep that tone, throughout the whole movie, like where it's not too silly. You still got that comedy aspect to it, and I think, the action was great. I don't think, like you said, there wasn't that much gore. Looking back and thinking about it after you said that, like, you're right. There's not that
There's
much.
not much there.
But I did
There is
feel
a
like
stump love scene.
There
Yeah.
is a stump. But that scene was a little weird, man. Like
Okay.
they're connecting on him, her redoing his bandage, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there's the sexual tension was just
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
feet thick, and I'm like, really, over
Yeah.
this? So
Yeah, you gotta
Oh.
stand by your man as he's ready to go into battle.
Yeah. But I love that actor that plays Rex. I think he's great. I'd love to see him in more shit. And I just think it's a solid movie. I think it hits everything really, perfect.
where you want me to go? Guy?
I'll go. I feel bad now after you just tend it. I'm not giving it a 10. In fact, I'm going to go lower than you probably think I'm going to go.
Really?
Yeah. Even though I really have not much bad to say about it, the movie is very good, and I would recommend it. And I think that if people haven't seen it or haven't heard of it, they should seek it out.
Absolutely.
It's definitely worth a watch, and hopefully it has more fans. Despite that, and despite all the good things, I don't know that it's going to be a classic or a cult classic or any other kind of thing where, people are going to be like, man, that movie really, that's the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And partially I say that because, I watched it 3 years ago, and like parts of it came back to me while we were watching it, but the fact that I didn't really remember it
Mm-hmm.
in 3 years, that's not a great sign.
Yeah.
All that being said, I'm going to give it a 6.9.
Oh, that's pretty good actually
Yeah.
for you though.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with a 7.2,
Whoa!
which might be my highest rating ever.
Whoa.
Which I guess if it is my highest rating, I'll probably say that that I'm becoming Gavin, where my system doesn't make any sense because I don't know that it's the best movie we've ever watched.
It's not the janitor.
But but you can't really say anything bad about this
Yeah.
movie at all. I do just feel like it didn't really. The only beef I guess I would have with it is that it's kind of like you said, where you watched it and you didn't really remember it.
Mhm.
And I do feel like this movie doesn't have anything in it that makes it super, super memorable.
Does it
It's
have 37
solid.
dicks?
It doesn't have the 37 dicks moment where you're going to remember that scene for the rest of your life.
I think the scene that was supposed to be that was the scene at the kitchen table. But it didn't. It was good, but I don't think it.
Yeah, it was probably either the kitchen table or the leg, killing the guy with the leg. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it just missed that mark.
Mhm.
But there's no reason to not watch this movie. And again, with this movie, I think this movie falls into one of those categories where even if you hate horror movies, you'll probably take something.
Mhm.
You can at least make it through this movie.
Yeah.
You're not going to hate it. So it's very solid. But as far as like never forgetting it, I think it might have fell short from that level.
Yeah.
So
It's not iconic like the
There
Janitor.
you go. That's a great word.
It's like the
Iconic.
Janitor or Die Hard.
Yeah.
Or Barbie.
Or Barbie. I
Oh,
almost said it.
wait. Gavin has something to say about Barbie.
No, I don't. Not allowed to talk about that. But yeah, it's not iconic like, Die Hard.
Yeah.
Or First Blood Part 2.
Yeah.
Not First Blood though.
Rambutt.
So, all right. So, I think it would be my turn for the next movie, but I don't. Well, I do have an idea for a movie, but we have to talk about it off recording.
Okay.
Porn.
So yeah, it's totally porn.
Oh,
no,
man.
it's not porn.
Is it is it Gavin's talk about the ping pong balls? Is that got y'all?
No.
It's the triple exorcist.
Yeah.
So one of you,
Sex Squatch. We have to get to Sex Squatch at some point.
Gosh.
one of you has to. Actually, it's on my Plex, so we can do it anytime we want. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Why is it
So-
there?
Shit, we could do it
Because
tonight at the
somebody gave it to me
bonfire.
at some point in time and said we're going to do this on the podcast.
It wasn't me.
So I put
I
it on.
did.
Yeah.
Well, you know what we need to do is you need to get a projector in your backyard so when we have a bonfire, we
Fires
can
just
put it
like-
on the side of your house, watch Sex Squatch.
There you go.
So one of you can have the next movie, whoever wants to take it.
Gav.
It probably should be.
It'd be Gav because I just
You did Bloody
Yeah.
Hell? Okay.
yeah.
All right. I'll take it if you're throwing it. I don't know what it is.
You don't know what the movie is at this point in time?
No, I might be pulling something random off of the list, or it's funny because each time, I think about what my next movie is going to be. A couple of days later, then something else is like, I want that to be the next one. So I don't even want to say something because a week from now I'll be like, nope.
Yeah. I got a couple that are lined up, but you know what movie we need to get to at some point? Like when we start going back into the trash year.
Killer Sofa.
No. Greasy Strangler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
Like I can't believe none of us have. Well, obviously Eric wouldn't
Yeah,
pick
yeah,
fucking Greasy
no.
Strangler, but
Is it available to watch online?
yeah, it's on like.
I'm sure it's on Tubi, man.
Okay, Greasy Strangler. I'm throwing it. I'm doing it.
All
All right, so our next.
Firm.
This is
Because
it.
you haven't seen it, right?
No, I have seen it. In fact, I've got a poster signed by 4 people from the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't seen it.
You have
so-
not seen it?
I have not.
All right.
Oh, horseshit.
I've literally watched like the first 10 minutes of it, and I was trying to watch it with Erin, and I was like embarrassed watching it with her. This is like when we first started dating. So I'm like, because I was like, I want to watch this movie. And,
Do you like Gummo?
yeah, I love Gummo.
You're gonna love the Greasy Strangler.
Okay.
Oh wow! So this movie is on par with Gummo. I'm gonna love this movie.
You're gonna
too,
hate
at
it.
6.
You're gonna absolutely hate it, Eric.
All right, so we got it then. In 2 weeks, it'll be the Greasy Strangler.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
get greasy.
So with that, we'll wrap this episode up unless anybody else wants to talk about anything not related to the movie, because that seems to be the moving theme of this podcast.
Die Hard Christmas movie? Yes or no?
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie.
Heck yeah, it is.
And you can't argue that it's not.
Ho ho ho.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
Thanks for tuning in to Hobbs and Horror Movie Review Podcast. Join us in 2 weeks for another exciting movie review.